Hey guys, it's me Gamerts. Today I will show you the best zombie games you can play in 2021. This video took me a lot of time to edit, so please like, comment and subscribe. Comment down below what you think I should post next. If you have subscribed, thank you so much. So let's start. Like and subscribe for 1 week of good luck. Resident Evil 2A is a 2019 survival horror game developed and published by Capcom. A remake of the 1998 game of the same name, it was released for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on January 25, 2019. Players control rookie police officer Leon S. Kennedy and college student Claire Redfield as they attempt to escape Raccoon City during a zombie outbreak. Resident Evil 2 is a remake of the 1998 game of the same name. Unlike the original, which uses tank controls and fixed camera angles, the remake features over-the-shoulder third-person shooter gameplay similar to Resident Evil 4 and more recent games in the series that allows players the option to move while using their weapons, similar to Resident Evil 6. The assisted and standard difficulties mode deviates from the original by featuring auto-saves and allowing players to save as often as they would like inside safe rooms. If the player chooses to play on hardcore difficulty, players will be required to collect and use a finite number of ink ribbons to save the game's progress, much like in the original game. While exploring the police station, players can find and pick up items that can help them survive and escape. Certain items such as herbs and gunpowder can be combined together to make healing items and ammunition respectively. Items can also be inspected for clues, gaining access to certain areas or items hidden throughout the game, and can be discarded after use. The Last of Us Part 2 is a 2020 action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. Set 5 years after The Last of Us, 2013, the player controls two characters in a post-apocalyptic United States whose lives intertwine: Ellie, who sets out for revenge after suffering a tragedy, and Abby, a soldier who becomes involved in a conflict with a cult. The game is played from the third-person perspective. The player can use firearms, improvised weapons, and stealth to fight human enemies and cannibalistic creatures. The Last of Us Part 2 is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective featuring elements of the survival horror genre. The player traverses post-apocalyptic environments such as buildings and forests to advance the story. The player can use firearms, improvised weapons, and stealth to defend against hostile humans and cannibalistic creatures infected by a mutated strain of the cordyceps fungus. Control intermittently switches between Ellie and Abby. The player also briefly controls Joel in the opening sequence. The nimble nature of the player character introduces platforming elements to the game, allowing the player to jump and climb to traverse environments and gain advantages during combat. The player can break glass objects such as windows to access certain areas or obtain supplies. Some areas in the game are navigated by horse or boat. In combat, the player can use long-range weapons such as rifles and bows, and short-range weapons such as pistols and revolvers. The player is able to scavenge limited-use melee weapons such as machetes and hammers, and throw bricks and bottles to distract or attack enemies. Collected items can be used to upgrade weapons at workbenches or craft equipment such as health kits, Molotov cocktails, and makeshift silencers. The player can collect supplements to upgrade skills in a skill tree. Training manuals found throughout the environment unlock additional skill tree branches, allowing upgrades to attributes such as the health meter, crafting speed, and ammunition types. State of Decay 2 is an open-world zombie survival video game developed by Undead Labs and published by Xbox Game Studios. It is a sequel to the 2013 video game State of Decay. The game was released on May 22, 2018 for Microsoft Windows and Xbox One. An optimized version was also released for Xbox Series X/S on December 2, 2020. Like its predecessor, players are required to build a community, manage resources, and survive against the horde of zombies. The game received mixed reviews from critics, who praised its difficulty, musical score, and combat, but criticized the technical issues and the lack of depth in the survival and management mechanics. A third installment, State of Decay 3, is currently in the works. State of Decay 2 is a zombie survival game, with an emphasis on scavenging for items, in which gameplay is experienced from a third-person view. The game is set in an open-world environment and features cooperative gameplay with up to 3 other players. 1. Killing Floor 2 is a first-person shooter video game developed and published by Tripwire Interactive, with later support from Saber Interactive. It is a sequel to 2009's Killing Floor. An early access version of the game was released for Microsoft Windows in April 2015, and the game was released in November 2016 for Windows and PlayStation 4 and August 2017 for Xbox One. The game utilizes Epic Games' Unreal Engine 3. Killing Floor 2 is a first-person shooter video game that can be played alone or cooperatively with up to 6 players. The game is based on events from Killing Floor, in which biotech firm Horton attempted to create military clones and was hijacked by an insane researcher who unleashed the clones across the UK. The clones have now rapidly spread across Europe, paralyzing the response from the European Union. 3. In Killing Floor 2, taking place a month after the first game, the outbreak has spread beyond Europe too, causing governments to collapse and communication systems to fail. Gameplay consists of players fighting through waves of zombie-like specimens, known as sets. As waves pass, the enemy count will increase. Different enemy types are introduced as players complete each wave, culminating to a boss fight as the final wave. Enemy count is determined by the number of players in the game. The boss character is determined randomly upon the start of the last wave, and each boss is defeated differently. 4 players equip themselves with melee weapons and firearms. World War Z is a third-person shooter video game developed by Saber Interactive and published by Mad Dog Games. Ammo and armor can be found by exploring the levels, though players have a limited amount of weight they can carry. On April 16, 2019. It will be released for Nintendo Switch in the future, TBA. Loosely based on the 2006 book of the same name, and set in the same universe as the 2013 film adaptation, the game follows groups of survivors of a zombie apocalypse in the cities of Moscow, New York, Jerusalem, Tokyo, and Marseille. The game is a cooperative, third-person shooter in which 4 players fight against massive hordes of zombies in locations including New York, Jerusalem, Moscow, Tokyo, and Marseille, France. Players can choose from 7 classes. The Gunslinger specializes in range. The Hellraiser specializes in explosives. The Fixer, engineer. The Medic, healer. Zombie Army 4, Dead War is a third-person video game developed and published by Rebellion Developments. It is a sequel to the 2015 compilation game Zombie Army Trilogy, itself a spin-off to the Sniper Elite series. It was released on February 4, 2020 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows, and May 1, 2020 for Stadia. Zombie Army 4, Dead War is a third-person shooter video game. 1. The game is set in the year 1946, 1 year after Adolf Hitler was defeated by the resistance and banished to hell. The game was developed by Rebellion Developments.
MTCB.